Hello, welcome to the New Stack Makers, a podcast where we talk about at-scale application development, deployment, and management. This episode of the New Stack Makers is sponsored by the Cloud Foundry Foundation. Software is at the center of business, and open source is at the center of software. With Cloud Foundry, businesses can make running software at scale a reality. Learn more about Cloud Foundry at cloudfoundry.org. Hey, it's Alex Williams of the New Stack, and we're back in Basel for the Cloud Foundry Summit again. And I'm here today with the GrapeUp's team. And how are you guys?
Doing awesome. Great seeing you again, Alex.
Good to see you. So please just introduce yourselves, and then we'll get started with our discussion.
All right, so my name is Swoszowski. I'm a VP for Cloud R&D at GrapeUp. So I run our research and development team at GrapeUp, investigating new, innovative and cutting-edge technologies that we might use to help our customers build their software faster, better, and safer.
My name is Daniel Hekman. I'm the head of business development, mainly focused on the US, helping large enterprises leverage our different services to be more agile and have more competitive products. And lately also working with Roman on some other things that are more product oriented.
Well, Daniel, it's great to have you back. We saw you in Boston.
Yes.
And we saw you at KubeCon a little bit, but it was just such a nutty show. But it's nice to have you here. And Roman, I'm really excited to kind of talk to you because this will allow me to kind of discuss a little bit how you guys are approaching the market, because I know you're coming out with your own distribution for Cloud Foundry, right?
Yes, that is correct.
And so I'm curious about how that story evolved, and then how that story kind of then becomes part of a customer story that you're hearing, Daniel. And so tell me about the decision to build, to offer distribution, and what's that architectural point of view that you have decided to take to actually kind of make that distribution justified?
Sure. So based on our experience with our customers, we have noticed that in many cases they decide to, or they prefer to use open source technologies, open source Cloud Foundry in particular, and of course they also use a lot of other tools around that, so that they can build a complete environment, a complete stack to run their workloads, to run their applications. So we thought, why don't we just package that and make it even more, even easier for them to set up, and practically in days, so that they can start using that and then building their apps. So that's how the concept grew up. Basically the idea is a combination of open source technologies that you can quickly start using, you can quickly start leveraging to build your applications and run your applications, any type of application, any type of workload in the cloud.
So what advantage does this bring for customers, Daniel? Like, for example, when you're thinking about like your own distribution versus another one?
So that is a very, very good question, because there are some amazing distributions out there in the market. And Pivotal, for example, the leading player in the godfather of the ecosystem, or god sister or mother, the god in this case. They have an amazing product. We see a gap in the market where companies, like Roman said, want to leverage the open source version, but are looking for a more curated approach, that are saying, we want to work with the tool ourselves, but we also want some help. So I don't want to go all in the left way, I don't want to go all in the right way, so I want to touch it myself, but I do need some help. And especially those companies that have still many legacy workloads, but they also want to be taught how to work with those new technologies, I think are a perfect fit for this product, whereas we are offering PaaS functionality and SaaS functionality in that one platform. And with our heritage and DNA of being able to help build cloud native applications, we can offer much more services around that. So for us, it feels like a natural fit for mid-sized companies that want to leverage those tools, do it fast. I think this works really well.
Right. So when you were thinking about that, you built it, out of Bosch, right? Essentially, can you tell us about how you what's your point of view about Bosch and how you think about it in terms of this distribution?
So Bosch is one of the tools we've been working with on a daily basis for a long time now.
Long time, yeah.
Yes, it is also an essential part of our product, where we use it for, of course, deploying release management, all the automation to deploy Cloud Foundry application runtime, but also Cloud Foundry container runtime and all the other tools around that, including telemetry system, including log aggregation, everything which altogether is required for you to create a complete stack.
Right.
So yes, it is an crucial part of the product.
Okay. So when you're thinking about the customers out there, Daniel, like, what are the size of companies that you're seeing? Like, are they growing their developer teams? Are you seeing more companies start to grow their developer teams out there? And when you're talking about their businesses and stuff, is that something the customers bring up? Like, our developer team is growing, or what are the dynamics there when you're talking to customers about kind of their developers and how Cloud Foundry technology applies?
So yes, it definitely starts with developer experience and how that will leverage going faster to the market, right? Those companies, and not just the large enterprise companies that already for several years have bought into what the amazing thing that Cloud Foundry is, but we're also seeing smaller companies wanting to leverage those technologies to help the developer go faster. Because we feel at the end of the day, if the developer can deliver more and better and faster and safer, that's where it starts and that's where it ends. But we also want to bridge the tension that you see between IT and the business, and we also want to have something that is also created for the operators from that more DevOps philosophy.
Right.
So with our experience as a company starting out way back to build software for startups, we really understand we want a competitive product fast, something that is scalable and that we can change. So we looked at from those three perspectives, something that really
So those three perspectives are?
DevOps,
right,
operator efficiency,
right,
and developer experience.
Okay. So how did you build that into the platform the distribution that you're now building? So
we provide the operator with a ready-to-use set of tools that they can use, first of all, to set up the whole environment literally within days, and then, of course, continuously update, manage, operate, maintain. The platform itself is, of course, a tool for the developers to speed up their efficiency. So they can simply CF push applications to Cloud Foundry or put them into Kubernetes, container runtime, and just focus on building the application rather than struggling with the whole app packaging, building, delivery process, and so on, right? This is all automated. The speed in this case also is built into the whole product itself, because you can set it up within days and start building on top of that, right? So it is pre-configured, ready to use, but of course can be modified and adjusted, customized the way the customer needs.
So when you're thinking about the customers out there, are you seeing a rapid increase in software at the center of business? When you're because beforehand we were talking about how in the Valley, right, all the startups have already used, they're already there, right? When you're thinking about the rest of the world, really, North American market, which you focus on, and Europe increasingly, and in Asia, we're starting to see this increase, right? So when you're thinking about that, and you're approaching them and talking to them, what are some of their pain points? What are those pain points that they're facing now? You talked about the operator, the DevOps kind of focus, and the developer. What are the pain points that they have that you're hearing about?
I think one challenge is that for them it's often how do we create a robust cloud-first strategy, right? There is a plethora of options out there, right? Do I go public cloud? Do I go hybrid? Do I use a just open source or a vendor version? I mean, there are many options. What do I do with my application architecture? I have to change the way my people work. There are a million questions that they have to answer. So one approach is that we have the ambition to have a platform that funnels that approach, so that those different elements that are relevant here, how the operator works, how the developer is able to build their business, how you approach the infrastructure, how to leverage cloud, that you sometimes not already want to make a decision on private or public or both. The platform, because it's open, it can adapt to your changing perspective or your changing strategy. And it also doesn't stop you to just try. And I think that is an important approach. Something else that I think makes it difficult for them to start doing that is culture, people, right? Because it hugely affects how you build software if you start leveraging those tools. So that also means is that suddenly, where you have your different silos that have their responsibilities, have to maybe share responsibility. So that becomes strenuous. I would say those are two of the main issues that we see and which we want to address.
So how are you trying to like tune the developer experience for that?
I think that also for developers, especially for developers, there is a plethora of different tools and technologies out there in cloud native landscape ecosystem, right? And then we have tons of them.
Yeah.
Dozens, hundreds.
Yeah.
So we also had this concept of, okay, why don't we give them a proven set of tools that they can just start using from, let's say, day one, right?
So you have push, right?
Exactly. Rather than just thinking, okay, so should we go with that tool or that tool? And once we decide, then we need to figure out how to connect them together and then how to set them up and so on. So instead of struggling with that, we just give them, hey, this is a tool for you to work with. It's easy to set up. It is easy for you to start building on, right? So.
And if I might add to that, Alex, I think it's also the pluggable nature of how we architected it. That once you get more mature as a developer or an operator, and you want to maybe plug something there, or interchange something, then the product allows for that.
So is this how you think? Is this how you kind of are managing decisions about choice? We heard in the keynotes some discussions about choice and how it's kind of a issue that companies are struggling with because they are using Bosch or using Cloud Foundry. Kubernetes is now running, underneath, the Cloud Foundry environments often, and there's lots of options and available, choices you can make. So I'm curious on that balance, and how you're thinking about that.
So, it's difficult to say that tool in a particular category is the best. We cannot say that, right? There is a lot of great products, a lot of great tools, both commercial and open source. So what we're just saying is that, okay, we know those tools work well together based on our experience, based on experience with our customers. Those tools worked well for them. So why don't you just start with a ready-to-use set? And of course, like Daniel said, once you get more mature, you of course can adjust it. You can just plug something out, plug something in, and it is very easy for you to do so. But you just get a, let's say, sort of starter kit that you can quickly jump on and start your cloud native journey, rather than first spending weeks or even months trying to set up the environment and your technology stack before you can really start building something.
Yeah, exactly, because that is also the philosophy here. We view that every company is somewhere on their cloud native journey, right? Where it's logical that the ones that start need the platform technology to really speed up and do things more efficient and effective. And that allows your people to start adopting and implementing new skills and new approaches, and how to sort of, like a rocket, I'm not trying to make an analogy with the product name, but that you need a huge amount of force.
What is the product name? Rocket?
Cloud Booster.
Cloud Booster. Okay.
Where you need a huge amount of energy to break free from that doing things the way you did and realigning your course.
From the gravity.
The gravity, yeah.
That orbit, man, it'll like pull you back.
Yeah, but I mean, you know yourself that the vast majority of companies, when they go for an all-in change, fail.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, one of the last questions I have is like, how are you using cloud native technologies at GrapeUp?
This is our everyday job, I would say. We've been working with cloud technologies for, well, over 12 years now, from the early day of AWS.
Right.
And ever since, we've been trying to strengthen our skills and our, let's say, technology stack. So when it comes to cloud native, we use technologies like Cloud Foundry, like other cloud platforms, Kubernetes, multiple cloud providers, and Bosch, everything which is in the ecosystem. Well, maybe not everything, but a lot of various tools. And we use them on a daily basis, working with our customers, both providing them with enterprise environments for implementing DevOps, adopting DevOps practices, but also building cloud native applications on top of that environments. So let's say we are both in the environment cloud world, but also the application world. So we understand what is required to actually connect those two pieces of the puzzle together, development and operations of the platforms.
Yeah, and I would say it covers a huge part of the spectrum, from back-end frameworks, front-end frameworks, mobile approaches, IoT, and so on and so on.
Well, Roman and Daniel, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us here at the Cloud Foundry Summit in Basel, and best of luck to you. I know, Daniel, you're going on the road and you're going to be off for the whole kind of fall conference circuit, so good luck with that. And
Thank
Roman, and they're really nice to see you again. I know we talked a few years back at a Cloud Foundry Summit.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll see you back again soon, so thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Alex.
This episode of the New Stack Makers is sponsored by the Cloud Foundry Foundation. Software is at the center of business, and open source is at the center of software. With Cloud Foundry, businesses can make running software at scale a reality. Learn more about Cloud Foundry at cloudfoundry.org. Listen to more episodes of the New Stack Bakers at thenewstack.io/podcast. Please rate and review us on iTunes, like us on YouTube, and follow us on SoundCloud. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.